Ex-alcoholics. What made you stop drinking? I used to be an EMT before the bottle took over my life. 3 years running calls, saving people, being the guy everyone counted on when things went to hell. But somewhere between watching too many people die and dealing with my own shit, Jack Daniels became my best friend. After my divorce, I was couch surfing at my buddy Nick's place. He worked nights, so I had the apartment to myself most evenings. That's when the real drinking started. Not the casual beer after work stuff. I'm talking about finishing entire bottles of whiskey while binge watching Netflix until I passed out on his couch. The worst part wasn't even the hangovers. It was waking up and not remembering half the night before. I'd find empty bottles I didn't remember buying, text messages I didn't remember sending, pizza boxes from places I didn't remember ordering from. One Tuesday night, I was deep into my usual routine. I'd bought a bottle of bourbon on my way home from a job interview that went terrible. Started drinking around 6, and by 9, I was already seeing double. I remember thinking I should eat something, so I stumbled to the kitchen. Next thing I know, I'm waking up on the bathroom floor with blood on my forehead and vomit all over my shirt. My phone was cracked next to me, and I had no idea how long I'd been there. My head was pounding worse than any hangover I'd ever had. I was scared, like really scared. I couldn't feel my left arm properly, and my vision was all messed up. So I did what any terrified drunk person would do. I called 911. 911, what's your emergency? I think I'm dying, I whispered into the phone. My voice sounded like gravel. The dispatcher kept me on the line while the ambulance was coming. I kept telling her I used to be an EMT, like that somehow made it less pathetic that I was lying in my own mess calling for help. When the paramedics walked in, my heart just stopped. It was Lisa, my old partner from when I actually had my life together. We'd run hundreds of calls together. She'd seen me at my best, saving people, being professional, being someone who mattered. Now she was looking down at me covered in my own puke, bleeding from falling into a toilet. She didn't say anything judgmental, just went into full professional mode, checking my vitals, asking the standard questions. But I could see it in her eyes, the disappointment, the sadness, the recognition of how far I'd fallen. At the hospital, after they cleaned me up and made sure I didn't have a concussion, Lisa sat down next to my bed. The ER was quiet, just the usual beeping machines and distant conversations. You used to be the guy I wanted in the rig with me, she said, not looking at me. What happened? I couldn't answer. What was I supposed to say? That saving other people made me feel like shit about my own life? That watching families fall apart every day made me realize mine already had? That every time someone died on our watch, I felt like it was somehow my fault? I don't know, was all I managed. She sat there for another few minutes, then stood up. There's a program for first responders at Harbor View. It's specifically for people like us who've seen too much. She wrote something on a piece of paper and left it on my bedside table. Think about it. After she left, I stared at that piece of paper for hours. Part of me wanted to crumple it up and forget this whole night happened. Go back to Nick's couch and finish what I started. But I kept thinking about how Lisa looked at me, and how I used to look at myself in the mirror when I actually respected the guy staring back. The next morning, I called the number. The treatment program was brutal. Group therapy with cops who couldn't sleep without seeing dead kids, firefighters with PTSD who jumped every time a door slammed, paramedics who'd lost count of how many people they couldn't save. We all had our poison: alcohol, pills, anger, isolation. But something about being with people who actually understood made it easier. These weren't people who'd read about trauma in textbooks. They'd lived it, breathed it, watched it destroy their lives just like I had. It took 8 months to get clean, and another year to feel like a human being again.